Hey guys, and welcome back for another tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this really cute coin card pouch. This is a perfect little size so you can stick in your small little purses. Enough space for some coins and then a few cards in the front with a little snap closure. So if you're interested in learning how to make this, all the measurements and a PDF printable will be over at the blog post, which will be linked below, as well as the information icon. So you can go over there, get your fabrics all cut out, and then we can get into the tutorial. So the first thing you're going to need is 2 pieces of your outer fabric, 2 pieces of your lining fabric. You're going to use 1 piece for a little tab piece if you wish. We're going to cut out 2 of these triangles. They are going to be the front snap flap. And then we're going to use some medium or lightweight interfacing. You will also need a zipper that is 5 inches or larger. So the first thing I'm going to do is work on my interfacing. I am using a medium weight interfacing, so I'm only going to iron it on the back of one of my triangles. If you have only lightweight on hand, then you can iron that onto both pieces, or you can choose to use a heavier fabric such as canvas so that you have a more rigid flap. I'm next going to iron my little loop piece. That's if you wanted to attach it to a little keychain or something. So I'm just going to fold in the sides about 1/4 of an inch, and then I will fold that in half. So as I was making this tutorial, I actually ended up never installing this piece. So hopefully I can explain to you later on how I did it, but I will show you how I made it into a strap. I just sew down both sides, and then that makes it look like a little strap. So hopefully you'll see at the end when I show you another little pouch where I installed it. So next we're going to install our zipper. So we're going to take one of the outer fabrics and then one of the lining fabrics, and we will place that with the right sides together. And then I'm going to sew down this edge. I like to switch over to my zipper foot. That helps me get nice and close to those zipper teeth. So I'm just going to sew along here. And then after that, you're just going to flip your piece right sides out and pull on the fabric so it's nice and tight. And then we're going to do a top stitch along this edge. I like to bump up my stitch length to about a 3, just because it makes it look a little bit nicer. So next I'm going to work on our little triangle snap closure piece. So I'm going to take those 2 and put them with the right sides together, and then I will sew all the way around except for the top part. So if you're new to sewing or this looks a little daunting, we're just going to sew until we get to a corner. We're going to lift up our presser foot and then turn the fabric, leaving our needle in. And then again to the next corner, leaving our needle in, and we just keep doing that so that we move the fabric but we don't actually come out of the fabric, and then that'll help give you nice sharp corners. Then after that you're going to snip off those corners just so that you don't have too much bulk when you go to flip it right sides out, and you get some nice sharp points. So you're going to use some sort of tool or knitting needle to poke out those corners, and then we're going to press that nice and flat. And then once you're done that, I like to do a top stitch the exact same way we sewn. So we're going to sew down to the corner and then lift our presser foot and spin it. And we will bump that up to, again, a 3 stitch length, and we will do that on just those sides that we sewn, not the top part. So next we will start installing the other half of the bag, and we will take that piece, lay that onto the other side of the zipper, lay down the other lining piece on top, and then we will lay on the lining on the other side. So you made sure that that little flappy piece is perfectly centered between the fabrics. And then we'll flip that with the right sides out again. We're going to flip down that little triangle piece, and we'll do a top stitch right over top of that. I like to do the top stitch over this little flap, just because if not, then it will kind of stay flipped up and doesn't want to lay flat, even if it's not snapped in. Okay, so I accidentally forgot to show you the other piece of fabric that was for my card slot. It is in the PDF, so don't worry, it will be there. And all those instructions, you know, are all photographed in the blog post. But this is that piece of fabric. I folded it lengthways and I'm going to press that. And then I'll do a top stitch on the folded edge just to make that look nice and finished. And then we will take that and we will lay that on top of the outer fabric that has the little triangle piece over it, and make sure that that is nice and straight. And then we will take the lining and fold that underneath, and then I'm just going to quickly pin that little card slot in place just so that it doesn't shift around when I go to do my next step. I'll flip the other outer fabric over so that the outer fabrics are now right sides together and the lining fabrics are also right sides together. I just took those pins out and then repositioned them over top of this, just so that I didn't end up sewing the pins on the inside and then really hurting myself. So then I'm going to sew all the way around, leaving about a 1 or 2 inch gap at the bottom of the lining. And then here we will start at the bottom of the lining. We'll sew about 1 inch to the corner, leaving our needle in. We will lift the presser foot and spin the fabric, and then we're going to sew up to our zipper. Our zipper will then be folded, and make sure that those zipper teeth are facing the outer fabric, and that will help to go over the zipper and sort of tell the zipper where you want it to go. And we're just going to keep sewing all the way up. If it does pucker, you can just pull out those pins as you go, as long as you know your fabric is all going to stay in place. And you can do about a 1/2 inch seam allowance. That's pretty safe with this size pattern. You're still going to be able to get your cards in. And then I'll sew down the one side, and then I'm going to sew down the other side with the zipper pull. Make sure you stick that zipper pull in if you are using a zipper that is longer like I am. And then we will fold that zipper with the teeth facing the outer fabric again, and then sew right over top. And I use a nylon zipper so that I can sew right over top of it and it won't bust my needle off in my face. So I highly recommend nylon zippers. And then I'm just going to cut off those corners and then snip off the excess zipper. I always like to stay away from the metal pieces, anything that I could, you know, have a fatal accident in my sewing room alone. Okay, so then you're going to flip the whole thing right sides out, and we'll just pull out the zipper on either side. Make sure that it is nice and square, and you can do a little press from here. I'm going to pull out my lining and I will fold in the raw edges of that hole that we use for turning. And then we'll just do that little quick top stitch over top of that. I don't mind if I use a different color thread, just because you're not going to notice it since it's on the inside. But if you want, you can coordinate the fabric with the color of your lining. And then from here, you're going to choose what you want to do for your closure. I'm going to be using a plastic snap system, but if you don't have plastic snaps, or you can get your hands on these cute little sewn in ones, you can actually sew these ones directly in, and they're super easy. But the snap system, I mean, it costs about, $20 to get the pliers and a good amount of snaps to have on hand. I will have a tutorial linked in the information icon if you're new to plastic snaps, so you can check that out. So I'm just going to take my awl, which is a poking tool, and I'm going to create a hole on the end of my little triangle flap, and then I will install the male end into this hole, and the male end is the part that will go into the other side. So I have a little pro tip. When you are finding the other side where your snap is going to go, I like to use a different color chalk, and I will just rub that onto my snap, press it into the fabric, and then it creates a little circle, and then I'll just put my awl into the center of that circle, and then I have a perfect snap placement. So I'm just going to install the female end, and then we're pretty much done. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up. Don't forget to share it with all of your friends, and of course hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell also, so you can be alerted of new and future tutorials. So here is my other one that I actually remembered to put the little strap on. You just need to fold that in half and put that in there when you do your sewing all the way around. So that's pretty easy and straightforward. So hopefully you guys can figure that out. But other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!